Hello, hello, hello. I'm Andrea Stevens,
And I'm Jeanette Mejias, and we are Web's Women.
where exposure brings strength. Hello. Good evening, my friend. Good evening. We are pre-recording again.
How are you? Good to
I'm
see
good.
you.
I'm good. Good to see you. It's been a bit.
You got a nice tan.
Thanks, man. I worked hard on this. Not really. I just, I like to just sit in the sun and get some vitamin D, you know?
Nice. You look good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm
Thank you.
excited to be on the mic with you. Um, it's gonna be us just chatting it up for
It's
a while.
us again.
We've
I
been,
know.
highlighting some amazing guests, and so, it's always nice to kind of connect with each other and shoot the
Yeah.
shit, as they say. So what's going on, girl?
Yeah. We
Talk to
haven't actually done this in a very long time.
Yeah,
I
it's been
mean,
a
because
minute.
we've had guest after guest. I mean, loving all of our guests.
Oh yeah. Yes.
But
You're
we haven't caught up. We haven't got to the root of what's going on in the world.
Well, let's talk about you.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
I know
me.
you got a lot going on, lots of updates. So what's up?
What's up with what part of my life would you like to know?
Whatever you are comfortable in sharing.
um, I mean, we've I don't know. We
I
talked
mean,
about a lot. I mean,
you just got back from um a recent travel. You went to a wedding in Mexico, right?
yeah, I went to Cancun. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
this is I'm learning a lot about myself being when
Mhm.
coming home and like, how am I going to cope with being back in my hometown after 20 years of being gone.
Mhm.
And I think for a whole year I was in denial. And I don't know if I've said this before on one of our episodes, but like, I think I was in denial for a whole year that I actually lived here. And I still in my
Yeah,
head considered myself visiting.
like visiting. Yep.
And
I
like, okay, well, and I'm always thinking like, what's my next destination? Right. Because I moved so many times that in my head, it's what's my next destination. And now I've come to terms with the fact that I'm here, um, and I'm staying here,
Well, that's
um, at,
fabulous.
at least until my son graduates, that I'll be here. But I've
All
also
right,
learned
congratulations. Blake is now officially
he's officially
transitioning to what, middle school?
middle school. Yes.
That's
Yes.
so congrats
And
on that.
thank God he got through this year, because this year has been tough
Yeah.
with my divorce, which was just finalized while I was in Cancun last week.
Mhm.
I got the email while I was there. So
Wow.
I know, right?
How did that
Um,
feel?
um, you know, I don't know if I really I don't know
Like,
if I
how did it
really
hit you?
had, yeah,
Like,
like
how
I
did
don't
it hit
really,
you?
no, it really did it. And
No, okay.
one of my friends, her sister was there, and she was like, it's kind of sad and happy at the same
Mhm.
time. And I was like, I don't really have any of these emotions. Like right now, like I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
okay, right? Like,
yeah.
okay,
Well, I think everybody processes
yeah,
change of events differently,
different,
right? We
right?
all process things differently.
Yes. And
And
my
I was
big,
just
yeah,
curious, given that, we know going through a divorce, not that I'm speaking from experience, but from what I've heard, it is a very emotional process and it's a lot. And, given the journey that, going back and forth with attorneys and things like that can really suck the life out of somebody. So
yeah.
was there kind of like a relief that you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff, but then you're still haven't really processed the whole
Well,
like the
if you
word.
read about divorce, okay, and you read about men and women, and mostly what ends up happening and what you see, the percentages, when you look at the numbers, okay, a lot of women have already processed
Mm-hmm.
their, like, not maybe the full divorce, but a lot of women that the decisions are made and or it's a mutual thing. And I think ours started out as mutual. So for me, like, I think I processed a lot of this within the last year to
Yeah,
2 years
sure.
before I even, moved out of that home that we were in. I think I processed all of that. So really the readjustment for me was the move, my child being settled, my dogs being settled, and I'm used to moving around the country. So for me, logistics is my thing, right? So, and I'm comfortable with change. I'm not scared of change. I embrace it. I do what I got to do, and I just keep going. And if I have to change because I don't like something, then I'll change it. But I think, since I've moved back, I've moved twice. I moved from New Jersey to here, and then I moved again from a smaller space to the space I'm in now. And there's 2 moves in a year. Right. And this is and this is now, thank God my son didn't move schools. So that wasn't a big change. And we didn't really move location at all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still having to pick up everything and transition somewhere else and get everybody comfortable where they're at, and knowing that, my son is unhappy the whole time, finally he came to me the other day and told me that, Mom, I have to tell you something. I think I'm happy now. But before he kept saying, I don't know what makes me happy. I don't even know what makes me happy. So there's a lot of,
and that's okay because,
right.
He's
moving. Yeah. And for me, right. And I'm trying to figure out
where he's not supposed to have life figured out. He's only 11 years old,
but he thinks he's 18. So for him,
I think he's also experienced things a lot sooner than his, peers. Right. And so he's wise beyond his years because it comes from being an only child as well.
And he's moved around the country. Don't forget. He has moved around the country. He's changed schools. We've even in the states we've lived in, we moved from one house in one county to another county, and everything changed with the schools again. So he is constantly changing and making new friends. And he's always been very good at change. And I want him, to keep moving forward and comfortable with change, because I don't want him to stay here forever. I don't want him to live in this town forever. I want him to go experience the world. I want him to go experience the things like that I experienced, and I experienced a lot of it before I even had him.
Yeah.
I had him at 38 years old. So I had 38 years, to do whatever the hell I was going to do,
right.
And I think too, is coming back here, I had to sit and think, okay, not just am I going through a divorce, but and not did I go through these 2 moves, but how am I happy here? How do I stay happy in a place that I never wanted to stay in? Right. And so I embraced the people around me that I knew from when I was younger. Right. My friends, my girlfriends, of course, they were always around me for years and years and years. They visited me. I came home. We were always very tight. We have a very tight relationship, me and my girlfriends, the core of us. But I've also embraced the friends that I haven't seen in 30 years. And in the hopes of me trying to figure out how I'm going to be happy here. And can I confide and trust in some of these people that I knew 30 years ago, and I've learned that, some of them, we're not friends. It is what it is. And I thought we would be, and we're really not. We're not the friendship that I'm used to having. Right. I mean, I think everybody's definition of friendship is different. But the friendships that the closeness that I have with my friends, and I pick those people. They don't just, it's not everybody. I've picked 1 or 2 people here that I have talked to since I moved here in a year that I've been here. And there's only 1 or 2 of them outside of my core group of girlfriends. But I sat there thinking, how am I going to be happy staying here? And I think the only way I'll be happy staying here is if I decide to go and travel a little bit, 3 to 4 times a year. I'm going to have to go in order to rejuvenate and come back. And then I'm comfortable here. But if I don't go, I've realized now, and this is because of this, since the beginning of this year, right? I've been in Arizona, then I was in Cancun. I'm going back to Arizona in a few months. I'm planning what I need to plan to stay sane at this point. But there's so many things that go on too with the divorce and the logistics of things. I think too is that, most I mean, I don't want to say most, I mean, most, but I will say most because I think so. But a lot of women come out of a divorce like anti everything, right?
Mhm.
Like anti men, anti relationships, I mean, just and angry sometimes.
But I
And
think that's part of the process.
right. And it is. It is. And I was angry and anti everything. And I could not find a decent male figure, right? That would be, I guess, um, someone that put faith back in, into my mind and my heart. Right. It was very
Yeah,
difficult.
it's kind of like restoring your faith back in people, right? And restoring
Right.
faith back in what your picturesque idea is of a relationship, right? Like
Or what do I need? Right. Like
what's your
what do
love
I,
language?
right.
Like you discovering that. And I think that because it looks different for everybody. So you're
Right.
speaking to you know, what you're discovering, right? Because, I like that you had said a few times that you were like finding, like rediscovering
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
and things.
And I look at the way, right, like these last two trips that I went on, Arizona, opened my eyes. I mean, my friend took care of me, like did more for me
Mm,
that I could ever imagine.
mm,
And I watched almost in awe, right, as he did these things for me, like this even happen in my marriage, right?
right.
Right. And I'm looking like, huh. And we're friends. And like, to me, it was like, okay, so that's these little things that I thought were big things. Right. And to him, he's like, what is your problem? Right. And I'm like, I don't think you get it. Right. And
Yeah.
we've had a lot, and I have a lot of conversations with him, and then I went away and I went to Cancun and I saw, um, my friend's family, and I haven't seen the younger girls, one of the girls that got married and her sister, like I haven't seen them in 20 years,
Mm,
25 maybe years. Okay. And for me to sit and talk to the people that they are in relationships with, one is now her husband, the other one is, in a long-term relationship, and they were friends when they were younger. And when I watch them interact and I
mm,
talk to him and and the other, my friend's other cousin and the husband, when I sit there and listen to them and I didn't have to say a word, I could just sit there and pay attention. And
mm,
I was like, okay,
mm,
like it was almost my eyes just wide open.
mm,
Like, okay, like it, and they all together, all of these people, it took all of these people and 2 trips to the sun and a break from my world, right? For me to have faith in people, in men, in myself,
mm,
right? And that what I want and what I need or what I think isn't far out there. It isn't, I
mm,
don't need, and I don't really need a lot at all. I don't, and I don't ask for a lot either, right? But, I have been told in the past that I'm too much, and I don't, I do me, I do what I got to do, and I don't really ask for much. So I sat there talking about those things to, you know, the gentlemen that that were there, and
mm,
I kind of listened to them a little bit, right?
mhm.
And had some conversations, and I think, I don't know, it opened my eyes, and I am a different person. I came back from Cancun a different person even than I did when I came back from Arizona. And
Mm,
everything seems, um I don't know, everything seems, I don't have I don't have that sadness,
mm,
and that, I guess that, I don't know, it's not really anger because I didn't really have anger. I just felt like, whatever, everybody leave me alone.
mm,
I think that's how I felt. Like I just want to be left alone.
mhm,
I don't want to know nothing.
mhm.
I just, whatever, you
Well,
know?
I think that you went through like your process
Yeah.
and I think sometimes you have to disconnect from your natural environments
Hmm.
so that you can reconnect with yourself and
Yeah.
really go
Absolutely.
deep and ask those questions, whether you're journaling it or whatever it is that you're trying to find, because at the end of the day, you know, what we ultimately want as human beings is peace, right? And
Mm-hmm.
love and happiness and all those things. But what we require to recognize is that we are the author of that. We
Right.
create the peace. We create the happiness. We don't have to depend on people to contribute to that. Now, if folks do, that's a bonus. But if they don't,
Yeah.
you control that. And
Yeah.
I think it took you to remove yourself from the day-to-day stuff and the
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day happenings and putting out fires, which you were doing a lot of that too,
Yeah.
and handling so much. And sometimes you need to just shut that off and
Yeah.
shut that noise off so that you can come in tune with yourself. Like you were able to think, you know, and then, you know, what's your favorite thing? What's your slogan? Clarity is king.
Clarity's king, baby.
Clarity
Yeah.
is
And
king.
I am very like I sat, you know, I went and walked on the beach
Mhm.
myself and I sat on the balcony and listened to the ocean myself. And I would, even if I felt like I needed closure with certain people, I typed out everything that I was thinking in my head that I wanted to say. And I didn't send it. I just typed it out. So it was out of my head. Right. And just so I could have that closure, because I needed closure with quite a bit
Yeah.
before, you know, I did. Even before I went, I felt good, but I didn't realize how much better I would feel until I got back. I thought I was okay, right? I
I,
thought I'm on, you know, everything's good. Like that trip to Arizona got me on track. I got to see a lot. I'm good, right? And then who knew that who knew that I could be even better and feel even better when I got back from this trip? But, you know, I
well,
do.
you
And I
look
did.
even better. So
Well,
that's
thanks.
the recipe, you know, for for your
Yeah.
continued, ongoing happy, right? Because
Yeah.
you're finding you're happy, you're in a
Yeah.
place of discovery, you're in a place of, kind of reframing life, and you're starting a new chapter,
Yeah. Yeah.
in life, and so, I find when you find something that works, stick with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
And you know, too, is I think there's a lot of I've come across since I've moved back. I've been here now a year. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and I think too is like people's perception of right, like of I think that weighed on me a little bit too, is like people's perception of my life and the things that I've dealt with and what I'm going through
Mhm.
and the people's perception that I've taught here in general, you
Mhm.
know, in my hometown. You know, it's not right.
Mhm.
You know, like it's incorrect. You know, it's not right. And I've even had people say, "Oh yeah, you went out with I went to a birthday party. Yeah, and I had and someone there said to me, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen him in I don't know how long. But oh yeah, yeah, I heard you went out with someone." I said, "Who?"
Mhm.
Right? I was like, "I talked to two people outside my girlfriend's here, so who?" They were like, "No, none of the no, not either one of those people." And I was like, "Well, who?" He's like, "You went to dinner." I go, "Well, can you tell me? Because maybe I really do want to go to dinner with that person. Can you tell me who it is?" But I can't remember. I was like, "Okay, what a shit show." But like people's perception of like, you know, who you are, what you do, what you're going through, and it's all incorrect, right?
Mhm.
And I have to laugh because I was like, damn, I wish I knew who it was. I mean, maybe I did want to go to dinner with that person. I mean, if it's a rumor, we might as well make it true. Fuck,
Oh my god.
you know? So
I just I'm always amazed of how interested people are in
right.
their
Who
life that
knew?
you have no idea or have
Right.
relationships with.
Right. I was
And
like,
it's
what?
kind of
Wait,
like, wow,
what?
wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I was like,
So,
I wish I knew. I wish I was there. Shoot.
well, wow,
Oh,
that's a lot.
yeah. And you
It's,
haven't said a
it's,
damn word about yourself.
I don't need to say anything about myself.
Just me.
We can save that for the next time. Sometimes
Yeah, yeah,
we gotta make things about, what it is. I
yeah,
wanted to kind of just focus on like, what has been happening. Because I know
yeah.
you've been dealing with a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
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 divorce is hard. Divorce is
yeah,
hard.
yeah,
Everybody, I mean, anybody that goes through it, man or woman, anybody that goes through it,
not
it's
easy.
not easy. It's not easy. There are arguments, there are fights, there are
Listen,
the worst part
marriage is
about it is your attorneys because they just want to
yeah,
suck you damn dry.
right. Marriage is not easy. And so
No.
having said that, when folks make a decision that they can't no longer continue the investments
Hmm.
emotionally,
Right.
that's now a whole set of other things that you have to be able to co-parent now together after
Right.
divorce. It's not like, okay, I'm divorced and everything is like, okay, like no, like that person doesn't go away. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to be able to arrive in a place where you both can, have at least a decent uh, relationship for the sake of, especially if you have young children still.
Yeah. Well, and communication is important.
Yeah,
And it
absolutely.
always has been. And I would have to say that me and my ex-husband, we communicated to death. I mean, we talked about things over and over and over and over, and I think for me, that is big. Communication is key. It's
Mhm.
key to building trust. It's key to building, just the familiarity with someone. Like the communication is key in any friendship, any relationship. It doesn't matter what it is. If there is no communication, you do not have a relationship or a friendship or anything. You just don't.
Yeah, it's true. And I don't think people realize how important it is. And like,
It
listen,
is. And
life
for
is
me, if
everything is work. You know what I mean? Like
it
people
is,
have this fantasy, in their minds that, oh, well, once I get married, it's going to be different for me.
yeah.
No, it's not going to be different for you. You are going to face the same things that you see in other marriages that are going through their, wall kicking moments,
Hmm.
hitting that, bump because it
Hmm.
happens. It's normal. If somebody tells you that their marriage has been great and we never had to do this or that, they're lying out of their teeth.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
End of sentence.
Yeah.
So I just think that things are just not life is hard, right?
Yeah.
And um
But it
sh-
doesn't matter. I still think too. I mean, life is hard, but if you think about it, even in like your work environment, right? Whether
yeah,
you own a business, whether you work for someone, right? Communication is the
yeah,
core to everything. And I'm a deep thinker, right? I'm a deep thinker. I have a lot of deep thoughts and I express them. And I'm not saying that that needs to be my communication with people
mhm,
like that, but communication with me, I need it. I need that in order to know that there's a connection there, no matter what it is, whether it's for a job, whether it's on my team at work, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship. Like communication is everything. It's everything.
it is.
If you don't communicate, you don't have trust, and you need trust. So you need to communicate, whether it's work, personal, professional, whatever it is,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, and,
Absolutely.
and to me, you don't communicate with me, then,
Yeah.
me and you we're not going to get along very well, or we're just not going to talk at all,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
but
Well,
that's
yeah,
how we started. Come on. If we didn't sit and talk on the phone during COVID as much as we did, this would never even have existed.
that is true. That
And
is
if we didn't communicate via our eyes in that hotel when we had a room up with a ton of people, if
oh
we didn't
God.
I communicate.
That was like, I have to tell you, so bad. That's just being straight up. I'm like, I have never been in that kind of situation, nor am I interested in ever being in that kind of situation.
No, me neither. Me neither. But we totally didn't say a word to each other. We just
No,
looked at each
I
other
think that was the first time you and I
and
got to really know each other, honestly, because although we saw each other 2 or 3 times max prior to that trip
yeah,
and engaged in that way, we met and we engaged, but
we
that
didn't
was
know
when
each
we
other.
really were like
Yeah.
connected and, started to form our friendship. But you know, even throughout, after that conference,
Yeah.
things started to evolve with us slowly. It just wasn't until the pandemic is where, we kind of
We bonded over the messy bun. The messy bun.
messy bun
When
and
Karen
COVID. Hey, listen,
when
COVID.
Karen tried to mess with my bun.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, COVID brought a lot of
Ooh,
crazy shit, right? But
it did.
but it also brought a lot of good things. You have to
Yes.
look at the silver lining.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm thankful for
And
that.
I think it brought a lot of things to the surface, right? That might
Yeah,
have been buried. I
yeah,
think it brought a lot of things to the surface. And with
absolutely.
relationships, you know what I mean? With
Yeah,
people and their jobs and everything,
yeah, everything.
everything.
For
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this was great. We'll have to catch. I'll fill you in on kind of the things that's going on with me. Um, that will have to be for the next podcast.
Oh, oh, okay. Get on the
Because
next.
I feel like, that's just like a whole nother, like,
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
30 minutes. Who's going to sit there and listen to us for another, for plus time. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I'm excited for our next guest that's going to be lined up.
Mm-hmm.
I actually met this incredible woman, Marta uh, Mazzoni. I hope I'm not butchering her last name. But we actually met, believe it or not, through She Podcast. We're part of a
Mm-hmm.
network of podcasters. And it was just an exchange, a compliment that evolved. And she's pretty cool. She's a grief counselor.
Mm.
Speaking from personal experience, lost her sister to cancer, and she's going to talk
Mm.
about, you know, um, part of her journey and kind of where she's at,
Yeah.
what she offers. She has a lot of good stuff out there for
Oh,
people.
good.
I'm
I
excited for
look
that.
forward. Yeah. I look forward to
Yeah,
meeting her.
because like I just feel like, we all experience some form of loss. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we're trying to find our way. And if we could,
Yeah.
find some answers or some words of wisdom, could always, kind of help us. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And then the next go round, hopefully we'll have some exciting things to share.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see you. I miss you.
I
And
missed you.
yeah, and I want to wish you a happy 4th of July
Oh,
because
yes.
our recording will. Oh no, what am I talking about? 4th of July is the
Wait.
following week.
4th of July, though, is on a Tuesday.
It is on a Tuesday, but I'm ahead of myself because our episode is launching this week, not the following. So
Oh, yeah. But our guest speaker will be on the following.
correct.
Yes.
So
Yes. After the 4th. Yeah.
yes. So I want to wish you a great week.
You
And
too. You too.
thank you. And remember, everybody, you're listening to Webb's Women.
Where exposure brings strength.